Cool. Looks like we got most of the folks in, so we'll get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. If you're looking to attend the webinar Navigating Legal Landmines in Construction Leveraging AI, then you're in the right place. I am Aaron Gong. I'll be the host today from AGC of America. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. If you have any question during any time of the presentation, please feel free to submit the questions. On the right side of the GoToWebinar, there is a question section, and we'll try to answer as many as we can during the end of the presentation today. For any technical issues, please submit any question you might have in the chat section. And everyone who is registered for today's webinar will receive an email within 3 to 5 business days with a link to access the recording as well as the PowerPoint presentation. And before we dive into the topic, I would like to introduce our speakers today. So our first speaker is co-founder of Superlegal, Nori Bicker. He has 8 years of experience in corporate law and focusing on leveraging legal experience with tech advancement and streamline legal process. He founded Law Geeks and Superlegal. We also have VP of Operations at Superlegal, Chris Lewis. Chris has been an attorney for 25 years with a background in real estate, including construction litigation and construction contracts negotiation. Welcome, Nori and Chris. I will hand it over to you right now.
Thanks, Aaron. Great to be here. Hi, everyone. So we are excited to be here with all of you to discuss some of the legal challenges that construction professionals like you face every day. At Superlegal, we leverage cutting-edge AI technology combined with legal expert insights to streamline contract review and safeguard your business interests. I hope you'll come out of today's session with a deeper understanding of how to avoid these challenges and how to take advantage of the advancements of AI to protect your business and ensure your projects are set up for success. We can move to the next slide, please. So before we actually dive into the legal challenges, let's talk a little bit about AI. Next one, please. Okay, so advancements in AI are revolutionizing entire industries and transforming the way businesses operate, making them more efficient, agile, and competitive. In finance, AI-driven algorithms are predicting market trends with unprecedented accuracy, enabling firms to make more informed investment decisions. In healthcare, AI is enhancing diagnostic accuracy and streamlining patient care through predictive analytics and personalized treatment plans. For instance, IBM Watson recently used to assist doctors in diagnosing cancer and developing treatment plans, excuse me, based on a vast database of medical literature. In legal, which is where I've spent 10 years of my experience, AI is changing the way attorneys carry out legal admin tasks. As Aaron mentioned, in my previous company, before Superlegal, we built a platform to leverage AI to actually help legal teams and legal professionals streamline their process of contract review. So the idea was, think about a large organization which has a big legal team. They're always bogged down in basic contract work, and we basically became an extension of that organization, helping the legal team provide better service for their customers. So one thing that we did, which was super interesting, is to show and educate our customers and potential customers about the efficiencies of AI. We ran a competition between 20 attorneys with decades of legal experience in our AI technology. And the competition was, let's see who can actually read and identify legal issues in 5 standard contracts. We use NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, for that exercise. So we gave both the machine and 20 lawyers the same task of going over 5 legal documents and identifying major legal issues in them. Who do you think won the competition in terms of accuracy and also speed? Was it the experienced team of lawyers or the AI that was trained on thousands of contracts? So you actually guessed it right. It was the machine, the AI, that managed to beat the humans and review 5 documents within 26 seconds and get to accuracy level of 94%, compared to about 80% of the human lawyers. So that was a huge deal. It got a lot of coverage, and it was the first time that anyone ran a competition like this that showed the world that AI can actually go head to head with lawyers and actually sometimes even do a better job. So that was a big achievement, and we're now, we can move to the next slide. So we are now looking to leverage this experience that we've gained over the years working with large enterprises to actually help construction companies, which is what this webinar is about. Let's talk about, it's clear that AI is affecting many industries, but what about the construction industry? When it comes to construction, AI is actually becoming an indispensable tool. From optimizing project schedules to improving the safety on job sites, AI is helping construction companies streamline operations and reduce costs. According to a report by McKinsey, construction firms that have implemented AI solutions have seen productivity improvement of up to 20%. All this to say that AI-powered software is being used in many ways across many industries, including construction, for predictive maintenance, analyzing data from equipment sensors, to forecast when machinery will fail. And that allows, obviously, construction companies to prevent expensive downtime. So AI is here to stay, and it is reshaping different industries, including your industry, which is great news for all of us. We can move to the next. Thank you. This one is great. So a recent survey that was run with construction companies found that 35% of construction firms are already using AI in some capacity. This number is actually expected to grow as the technology continues to advance. I wonder how many people are already leveraging AI on this webinar for their work. If you feel comfortable, let us know in the chat if you are already using AI in some capacity. But I think that by now all of us understand that AI is really the future, that businesses that want to be efficient and be profitable really need to find a way to leverage it to gain a competitive edge. So let's talk about the, navigating legal challenges and how AI can help you with that. Next slide, please. One back. One slide back, please. Thank you. Okay. So you know better than I do that construction projects are incredibly complex. You deal with this every day. You have multiple stakeholders involved in every project, sometimes very intricate contracts, and of course, ever-changing regulations. As a result, legal challenges are really common in this industry. A lot of the challenges contractors and subcontractors face can range from contractual disputes like disagreements over contract terms or scope of work, payment obligation, pay when paid, pay if paid, liability issues, indemnification, change orders, etc., etc. So I'm sure many of you experience these issues in your day-to-day work. So you know what I'm talking about. Next one, please. And you also have other potential issues that can come up related to construction defects. You can have claims related to design error, defective materials or workmanship, and failure to meet contractual specifications or industry standards. And you can have disputes on project delays, like issues related to scheduling, coordination, weather delays, labor shortages, etc. But of course, there is the issue of compliance and how to make sure you're staying compliant with the building codes, zoning regulations, environmental laws, permits, licenses, and many more issues, right? Next one, please. So all of these different challenges can compromise your project timelines and budget. And that is what we want to avoid, because you know as well as I do that when you don't set the right expectations with the different stakeholders, you're working with whether it's your client, it's a contractor, it's a subcontractor, and protect your company legally, you can experience delays, you can have cost overruns, reputational damage, which can very well hurt you down the road. So again, all this to say is contracts, while it's a boring document, they actually make a big difference. They have financial implications, they have business implications, as all of you all know. So it's a lot to deal with, especially when you're not necessarily knowledgeable on different legal aspects. Maybe you hired an attorney to help you, maybe you're doing it on your own, maybe you actually have a team currently handling, but you're spending a lot of time on it. And this is what we're hearing from many customers. Basically, very often, it's actually relatively easy to agree on the business terms, but when it comes to the contract, that's where things get sticky and the projects get delayed. Sometimes projects start without the contract, which is another major issue. So we will do our best to try and help you with this problem. Next slide, please. So now that we talked about all of the bad things that can happen, let's talk about how we manage these risks while leveraging AI technology. Please, next slide. Thank you. So the advantages in AI are providing us with new opportunities to reduce legal risks more efficiently. These are AI tools. There are AI tools out there, such as contract review software and risk prediction algorithms that can help streamline the legal review process, identify potential issues, and ultimately save you a whole bunch of time and money. Here are just a few ways that how AI can help. It can help you identify and highlight crucial clauses, ensuring nothing is overlooked. And we'll see a screenshot of the software in a few minutes. It can automatically flag clauses that may pose legal risk or are non-standard. It can ensure that all contracts adhere to the company's standards and legal requirements. And it can reduce the risk of manual errors in contract review through automated processes. This goes back to the competition I mentioned before. What's different between the AI and the actual human lawyer, right? So the AI never forgets, right? The minute it saw an issue, it saw a contract, it always will remember this issue. It doesn't go to sleep, it doesn't take vacation, it doesn't have a bad day. So that allows you to actually handle these contracts both with more efficiency and with reduced risk. Next slide, please. So let's talk about, I want to give you some practical tips about what you should actually do as a business owner or a business leader in construction. The first tip I want to give you is to have very clear contracts. Excuse me. It all starts with your contract. You need to make sure that all your project contracts are clear, understandable, and legally sound. That means clearly defining the scope of work, the responsibilities, the timeline, the payment terms, etc. It's always easier when you're starting with your own template, because then the other party to your contract needs to spend their time reviewing and understanding what you're trying to do. So usually when you have your template and you're sending it out to the counterparty, it is smooth sailing, as they say. But when you're faced with signing someone else's contract, that's when things get actually trickier. That's when you really need help with legal, and that's where AI can help you and support you on that issue. Next slide, please. So here we have an example of how AI actually helped one of our customers. So as I mentioned, AI can make the contract review process much more efficient. You can actually automate the entire contract lifecycle from drafting to execution. Many people don't know that. You have AI that can draft for you, can review for you, can even send out the contract for signature to the relevant parties. And the technology is getting better and easier for people to actually leverage. So if before 5 years ago, let's say you had to be an expert in product and technology to use these things, now it's much easier and more accessible for everyone. So AI can help you save time. It can reduce legal admin tasks, and it can really, I think that's probably one of the strongest benefits. What do we all care about as business leaders, right? once you have a business agreement with someone, once you agree on the business terms, you actually want to get the contract out of the way as quickly as possible. Why? Because that's what's standing between you and the deal, between you and the project. So if you handle contracts more efficiently, if you leverage AI to handle the contract review negotiation more efficiently, you're able to start your project faster, which means you'll get paid faster, right? So I think that is probably the biggest benefit of using AI to shorten the contract negotiation cycle and the deal cycle. So when you need to review a long document or a bunch of legal documents, it's very time-consuming task. And when you use AI, it really can free up a lot of your time. So this on this slide, you can see one of our customers, which is who works for an elevator company. And he mentioned that he saves approximately 18 hours every month by using Superlegal to review construction contracts. So again, not just saving his time, but also accelerating the time to close the deal and to get the project going. That is a huge benefit, especially in construction, where everyone is under such a big time pressure, and it's a very dynamic environment. Please, let's move to the next slide. Thank you. So what we found when we started working with construction companies, what we've learned is, although many of these companies are actually running multi-million-dollar projects, they don't work with an in-house legal team, unlike other industries. So many of them don't have an in-house lawyer, and they are paying an outside counsel, which is a big expense. So they're paying an outside counsel to review contracts. Not only is it expensive, but often what we hear is, we want a legal solution that can move faster, that can move at the speed of our business. So this is where we are confident that AI technology can come in and become this legal support system for construction companies. It can, as I mentioned, identify potential issues, raise risk, and provide suggestions on how to improve the contract based on the different preferences of your organization. Some organizations, some companies actually know what they prefer, how they like to negotiate, and technology can accommodate that. And others actually need legal advice, need someone to tell them, hey, this is how you should negotiate. This is what is market. This provision in this contract is completely out of what you see in typical agreements. So this is one thing that Superlegal, as the only AI company that is licensed to practice law in the US. We got a special license from the Supreme Court in the state of Utah to practice law. So this is something we can help you with. So if you're not sure what you should be negotiating, you're not sure what's important, you're not sure where to push back, that is one of the benefits that an AI solution like ours can provide. So this brings me to another point. Basically, not all AI software are created equal. You have to do your research before choosing the right tool. It's very important because contracts are sensitive. Contracts are at the heart of your business. We use a lot of proprietary patents and technology in our solution, which we've been developing over the last 10 years across many millions, actually, of legal documents and different contract types. So I'm sure all of you heard about the ChatGPT over the last year, and this is a great tool, right? But ChatGPT is not specialized in legal. It's a general AI solution. So while many people, including myself, use ChatGPT for drafting emails, planning trips, right? You would not want to trust ChatGPT with something as sensitive as your contract. So the takeaway from this slide is basically when you're picking the right AI solution for you, you need to pay special attention to accuracy and reliability and trust. This is a sensitive matter. Legal is a sensitive matter, and you don't want to put your business at risk. So you will hear and you will see over the course of the upcoming years many tools out there that say, hey, I have AI for this and AI for that. The question always needs to be, great, right? But is this tool going to solve my problem, Or is this tool going to just give me some pointers and then I need to spend my time or actually hire an expert to decide what is right and what is wrong? Okay, we can move to the next slide, please. So let's take one example. So the question is of who is responsible for project delays is always a hot topic in every negotiation. Now, you may have your own preferences about this issue, or you may want Superlegal to tell you what's market. But in any event, AI can check if the issue of project delays is actually covered by the contract and identify what is the position taken by the other party. This allows you to at least be aware of this exposure, quote unquote, and decide, if you want to push back or not. If you're not sure, Superlegal will tell you if the position included in the contract is market and can also even redline the contract to match the recommended position so you can send it over to your counterparty. So one thing that we're hearing from a lot of construction companies is they often actually don't have the power to even negotiate, right? I'm not in a position of strength where I can push back on the contract language. So to that, what we say is, hey, at least you have to make sure that you understand what you're getting into. You understand the exposure, you're understanding the risk, so you're not getting into a contract that can actually hurt you more than it benefits you. So even if you're not able to negotiate, at least knowing what exposures, legal issues are in the contract and making a more informed decision is critical. And AI tools can help you with that. Next slide, please. So this is just one example from our platform. So what we do each time we have a new customer is we create legal policies for them, or what we call legal playbooks. Those policies are basically a set of rules for the things that they care about, either because it's their preference or because they should care about them. So these are all examples of different legal issues that our AI engine has been trained to identify. In some cases, it will identify them in the contract and strike them out because they're opposed to our client's benefit. In other cases, it actually will make sure that they are included in the contract. And by the way, doesn't matter how these clauses are actually written. It can be written in many different ways. Our AI technology is able to identify them no matter how they're written. So be able to identify if it's missing from the contract and insert the relevant language in. Again, to protect your interests, right? To make sure the contract is more balanced and hopefully creating a more win-win situation and less of a situation where all the risk lies with one party and the other party only has things to gain. So that is just one example of how we like to set up our system for different customers. Please, next slide. So I think in summary, when you have a good contract that you can trust, doesn't matter if it's your own template or you have were negotiating it from a position of making the right and informed decisions, you can really prevent disputes, you can prevent fines, you can prevent penalties down the line. All of these have obviously big monetary value for construction companies, and it's very important that every contract is taken with the most seriousness, and you need to invest at least some resources in handling these contracts, no matter if you're doing it manually or using an AI tool. So while many companies are using some form of AI to help them make more certain processes efficient, we're actually starting to see that giants in the construction space, like Sakanska and Software Construction, they're already announcing that they're leveraging AI for contracts. And it doesn't need to be only a tool for large firms. One of the benefits of our tool is we've designed it also for smaller construction companies that don't have an in-house legal team. People are not lawyers and need a tool that can actually give them legal advice and tell them what's market. That's where Superlegal can come in. So any construction business that wants to focus on construction and not legal should be leveraging AI to help with its legal needs. Next slide, please. So this is just one example of how an output of an AI system looks like. In the end, we're dealing with contracts, right? And in order to negotiate, you need to identify a problem, identify an issue that should be there or shouldn't be there, and then make red lines to the contract. Where many of our customers struggle is if they are not lawyers, not only is it hard for them to identify what are the potential problems, also it's hard for them to make the necessary changes to the contract in order to protect their interests. So our platform both identifies the gaps, identifies the problems, and is able to resolve them. Resolving them might mean striking a certain provision, adding something that is missing, making surgical edits to the contract so the negotiation doesn't become long and cumbersome. Okay, so now we'd like to open the floor to your questions. Whether you're curious about specific AI tools that are out there, or want to share your own experiences, or even need advice on managing a particular legal challenge, feel free to ask. We've already had some questions submitted by some of you that we would love to answer.
Yes, so we did get some questions. Legally, who is at fault if you use AI and it misses something or incorrectly summarizes or calculates incorrectly?
That's a great question, Aaron. So one of the reasons that people actually use lawyers is just for that, right? They pay lawyers to take responsibility for the accuracy of the analysis. If there is a problem, you will go to your lawyer and say, hey, Mr. Lawyer, how could you have missed that, right? And in theory, you may actually ask them to compensate you for the damage. That typically doesn't happen. It's interesting in theory. So in many cases, most AI tools, what they do is they say, hey, we're not giving you any advice. We are just giving you recommendations, and we recommend also that you go and consult with the legal professional. So if you played with ChatGPT and try to ask them a legal question, they would say, hey, I'm an AI engine, I'm not a lawyer, go talk to a professional. So in many cases, the question of responsibility when you're using AI, definitely the tools or the low-cost tools falls on the user, falls on the, in your case, the construction business that is using AI. And that is one of the disadvantages of using AI versus using a lawyer. What we did with the Superlegal is we decided that because legal is such a sensitive issue and because accuracy is so critical, every time that the AI makes an analysis, we are going to back it up and verify it by an actual human lawyer. So the team that Chris manages out of Utah is a team of experienced contract attorneys. And every time that the AI goes over a contract, redlines it, this contract goes through another set of human eyes to make sure that nothing was missed. So what you get from us is an output that you can actually trust, and also that we can stand behind and say, hey, we are responsible for this. If there's a problem, you can come and talk to us, and it's not just your problem, Mr. Customer. So this was a long answer to say not all AI tools were created equal. Many of the AI tools will say, hey, it's your problem, Mr. Customer, I'm just a supporting tool for you. And some tools that are confident about their accuracy will take responsibility for that.
Great, thank you so much. And we have another question. Can I ask questions on the platform toward the contract for details, or do I only have one output?
Great question again. So because we have this combo of AI and humans to complement it, our clients do have the benefit of being able to ask questions and sometimes even ask for a conversation with one of our legal experts over email, over Zoom, and even some of our customers actually ask us to help them with the negotiation itself. So we are able to talk to the counterparty. Sometimes they have a counsel, and sometimes they want our help with the negotiation itself. So you are able to ask questions. There's no just one single output. This is not a one shoe fits all type of situation, because we know every business is a bit different. Even inside construction, you have different stakeholders with different preferences, different negotiation powers. So we are able to personalize the platform for our different customer needs.
Great. If a human is in the loop, then how long until a contract could be reviewed?
Another great question. So our SLA, the guaranteed SLA, meaning each time you send us a contract, we will send it back to you within 24 hours. That is 24 hours, 365 days a year. No matter if it's a public holiday, if it's a weekend, you send us a contract, you get it back within 24 hours. So that's our SLA. And we have all of the operational efficiency to support that. So we have all of the infrastructure to run the AI, and then after that, the human review in order to meet this SLA. And because we've been doing this for 10 years, a lot of our experience is, okay, how can we scale this, right? How can we do this when we have thousands of contracts that get submitted to Superlegal every day, right? So it is a big operation to run the AI and then have a person ensure that the accuracy is there. So we know how to do it. We did it in our previous business for some of the largest organizations in the world. Imagine companies like HP, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and many more all trusted us with their contracts. And we're talking about organizations that see thousands of contracts every month, right? So we have the foundation to support this issue.
Great, thank you so much. A lot of interests on the platform. Another question, how does Superlegal differ from other documentation summarizing platforms, or in general documents processing platforms or software?
Yeah, another great question. We have a smart audience. So we don't view ourselves as a document summarization platform. We view ourselves as a legal solution that is able to help people that don't have a legal team review and negotiate contracts. And to achieve that, you need to be able to read the whole contract from A to Z, not miss anything, identify problems, then fix them, right? So we don't view it as a summary of the contract. There are tools that summarize your contract. We view it as really the same output that you would get from a lawyer. Send me a contract, I'll review it, I'll make all the necessary changes and send you back a version that can be sent to the counterparty. So that's one major difference between Superlegal and other tools. I thought there was another part to this question, but I forgot. Can you repeat, Aaron, please?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, there was another part to that question, which I forgot. Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, it was just how does it differ from other document platform or summarization platforms? I think you answered it all.
Okay, great.
Yes, and yeah, a lot of questions about the platform. Can AI review a contract from a standpoint of one party or the other? Can it review from the standpoint of general contractors versus a subcontractor? So getting a lot of more nuanced questions here.
Excellent question.
Nuri, can you hear me?
Yes, Chris.
I would like to apologize to everybody. I lost my internet connection at the very beginning, but I'm Chris Lewis. I'm a Superlegal attorney, and I'd be happy to answer that question and any other questions. When we tackle the problem of how to redline a contract, we need to angle it from the position of the parties. So if you have a general contractor, a sub, or a sub-sub, the review process that the AI is guided by is angled toward the needs of that particular party. So what we have to do is train the AI and inform it of the legal position for that particular party, and then it follows that pattern. So it would be a very different red line based on the different side of the agreement.
And that is also one thing that makes us very unique. As I mentioned, we don't see ourselves as a generic AI solution or AI summarization solution. We view ourselves, we aspire to be at the same level of a lawyer that understands your business, right? And the other point that I wanted to make before is, hey, one of the benefits of Superlegal is, yes, we can help companies that don't have an in-house counsel where the CEO, the owner, the president, the CFO handles contracts on their own, but also often we see legal teams or companies with legal teams use Superlegal. When do they use Superlegal? They use us when it's what we call a lean in-house legal team. So the legal team is small, they're always crazy busy, and they need some solution that can scale at the speed of the business. So rather than hiring more and more people to the team, they add Superlegal as a force multiplier. So again, we're at the level where if you are not a lawyer, we're a tool for you. And if you're a part of an in-house legal team and you're running it in a very lean way and want to be capital efficient, Superlegal can also help you with that and take the routine contract review and negotiation off your plate so you can focus on more strategic work.
In other words, when we have a situation where there is in-house counsel and a developed legal policy, we can actually change the nature of the edits based on that internal policy need. So we're able to really target to specific needs or provide very generalized advice and help you develop your own internal policy if you don't have in-house counsel.
Awesome. Thank you for the answer. And we got another question that is very relevant to the industry. Can you expand on the use of AI when using it to develop or review programs against regulatory bodies' compliance authorities, specifically from a safety perspective?
So I'm happy to tackle that one. In order for artificial intelligence to leverage a knowledge base, it has to be trained. One of the issues we've seen with the big publicity behind ChatGPT is how to make AI respond meaningfully, accurately, and correctly in light of knowledge, information it has. A chat AI is based on analyzing tons of data that come from various sources, and they're known to hallucinate. I think a lot of us have heard of that now. There was, for example, an attorney in New York who was filing a legal brief in a case and relied on ChatGPT to create and submit a legal brief. And the ChatGPT had hallucinated cases and, in other words, invented wholesale legal arguments and cases. And when those cases were called into question, that attorney ended up getting his license suspended and getting fined. So it's kind of a nightmare scenario, but it shows a little bit the limitations of what artificial intelligence can do without human involvement, without training, without supervision, and without careful guidance and human double checking and doing due diligence. So to answer the question, the artificial intelligence would have to be exposed to that regulatory regime, whatever it is, and then to be able to understand the natural language in it, and then be able to deconstruct it. And that would almost certainly require supervised training from humans in order to pull off. That's why our company has chosen to have everything done with humans involved in the process from beginning to end, looking at every word. I hope that answers the question. That's my best stab at it.
Nori, would you like to add anything?
No, Chris, I got it right. Thank you.
Great, we can move to the next one. So this question asks, in what states is Superlegal licensed? And do they only review contracts in those states?
Yes, I'm happy to address that. We are authorized by the Utah Supreme Court to practice law as an AI company, which means we're able to provide legal guidance on legal principles that apply generally, because anything a Utah attorney could do, we're able to do. So if somebody's looking for specific advice on Utah law, we can certainly accommodate. We're also able to follow the guidance of a legal team or a company in redlining a contract according to their policy as well. So they don't have to be situated here in Utah, but we're able to assist a wide range of clients that way.
Yeah, and what I would add here is that this is a very special license that we managed to get from the Utah Supreme Court after they've meticulously evaluated our experience in contract review and negotiation, right? So this was granted to us after 8 years of basically becoming the extension of some of the largest in-house legal teams of Fortune 500 Global 2000 companies. So it is a big deal. And it allows us, as Chris said, to support companies based on contract principles across multiple states in the US, no matter if the contract is governed by Utah law or California law or New York law. The exception to that is if it's we can only handle contracts, so we are not going to be your litigation lawyer or your M&A lawyer. Our license is limited to contract review and negotiation, so like a commercial attorney. And if there's something that is very state specific, we would flag it for our client's attention and say, hey, this looks like something that is very special for this territory. We actually recommend that you seek counsel in that territory. But what we found, having serviced many customers, is that the contract principles, the clauses, the provisions are common across multiple states. And so we can add value for companies that are located in different states in the US and not just in Utah.
Great. Next question is about data privacy and confidentiality. Contracts that are submitted are kept confidential, and there are some concerns about the information of the owner and GCs being shared in cyberspaces.
That's an excellent question. Yeah. So,
Chris, you want to take it, or should I? Please.
I'll answer it briefly, and then Nora, you can back clean up. I just want to share from my legal perspective is we, and Nora can address InfoSec issues. From a legal standpoint, we don't share anything outside of our company. So that's one of the problems with the way other AIs are being leveraged, is that people are inputting information, say on the internet, and it's confidential, and it loses, it has the potential for being accessible to outsiders. So for us, that's a very sensitive issue. I'll let Nori talk about how we protect data privacy, but from a legal standpoint, nothing gets outside of our platform, outside our internal system, and we're bound by the same rules of confidentiality that a law firm would be.
Yeah, and I would say that from a technology perspective, we had to build something very robust from a confidentiality standpoint because of the sensitivity of this information. And bear in mind that we actually worked, as I mentioned, with some of the largest organizations in the world, right? So imagine US banks and insurance companies and big tech, right? All those folks have done extensive InfoSec reviews for our platform to make sure that it meets their standard. So we invest a lot in it. We are a ISO 27001 certified, and we definitely take good care of our clients' information. And as Chris said, never share it with anyone outside the company. So we are as safe as it gets.
Thank you both. Next question, does the AI model review contracts keeping state-specific common law in mind?
So I'd be happy to address that. We're dealing with contract law here. So even internationally, the common law is very similar for general contract terms. When we get to a state-specific need, we can incorporate that into the review process. We can adopt that. So for example, if you have a state that prohibits pay if paid type provisions, then we can create a policy that would strike that provision out of the contract automatically. So we can capture policy from other states. We don't give formal legal advice on the application of that policy to a specific problem. So if there were a situation that arose where we recommended talking to a local attorney, we'd make that recommendation. But most of what we do is the application of general principles of contract law, which are fairly universal these days.
Great. And what would happen in cases of misjudged contracts?
Oh, sorry, what
Aaron?
kind of contract?
Cases of what?
Misjudged.
Meaning if there's a mistake in the contract review?
Yes, I assume that's the question.
Yeah, so again, we've been doing this for a very long time, and we are using a two-layer of AI and human to ensure that the quality is top-notch. If there is a complaint about inaccuracy, which is very rare, I don't want to say never, I think never, but if there is a complaint about inaccuracy, this is a discussion between us and our customers, right? But the way we built it, and we strive to continuously improve, is to make sure that what you get is a result that you can completely trust, that is very, very accurate and doesn't put your business at risk.
Thank you. Next question, has the application been used to evaluate manuscript insurance policies, given that they are a form of contract? And I'm assuming, this is in the scenario of the GC or construction-based insurance.
So
the question is,
sorry, Chris, please.
No, I was going to clarify the question, but it's whether we review insurance policies at this stage, and we don't. Often those aren't negotiable except for larger organizations, so we're not able to support that at this time.
Yeah, but cool, but actually sounds like a cool feature. So one of the things that is interesting working with a technology company is a lot of the feature set and the product roadmap that we have is actually informed by our customers. So if we hear this coming from multiple customers, we will prioritize it and may be able to support it within a couple of months.
Yeah, to give an example of that, last week we had a customer request a particular review process for a type of contract we didn't support. And so we, in about 24 hours, turned out a review process for that new contract, which is being beta tested right now and refined before being able to be launched. But we are able to add to our repertoire when there's demand.
Thank you for the clarification. We're gonna do a last round of call for questions. If not, we will move forward. And if we didn't get to your question by any chance, which I think we have, we'll send the questions over to the speakers and send over the Q&A in the follow-up email along with the presentation and the recording. And I think we can move forward.
Excellent. So we can move to the next slide. Great. So if there are no more questions, I just want to take a moment to say how proud we are to partner with AGC to deliver a better legal service for construction professionals like you guys. Through this partnership, we are offering AGC members the benefit of a 10% discount on all of our plans. We are really excited to support your projects and to help you navigate the complexities of contract review with confidence. If you have any further questions or would like to continue the conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can see my email in the next slide, so feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if I don't know the answer, I'll ask one of my team members to help. So thank you again for joining. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Chris, and the whole AGC team for setting up such a great webinar. I enjoyed it and I appreciate all of the participants' wonderful questions. Good luck and have a wonderful day.
Great.
Thank you,
Thanks everyone for your time. We'll send out the recording and the presentation within 5 business days. And thank you for attending.